My bullet journal existential crisis is continuing this week, but I'm going to try and start thinking my way through it. Hi everybody, today I'm going to set up my bullet journal for the week. As usual, I'm just filling in that I did take a painkiller last night. I was reaching up to turn the Christmas lights on over our pass-through and I jabbed myself right in the kidney. Oh, it did not feel good. I'm still feeling crummy this morning. So I'm gonna get my challenges done first and then we're gonna go into kind of my existential crisis for the month basically. So today's lettering challenge is impedimenta. Did I say that right? Possibly, possibly not. And then the Harry Potter doodle for the day is Hufflepuff's cup. I will tell you, I've been doing this so far. I'm not thrilled with all of them, but I'm enjoying my Mandrake Root and my Dark Mark. And these two, the Sorting Hat and the 9 3/4, are some of my favorites so far. I'm not as big of a fan of like the locket or the diary or the ring. I guess my Horcruxes thus far have not been satisfying to me, but it's cool, man. We're not doodling to make everybody think we're the most rad-ass fucking doodler on the planet. We're doodling for the practice. Just because the more you do it, the better you get. So whether you're happy with it or not, do it anyway. That's what I'm doing. So I've been doing this good shit list and I've been making just like notes of good shit that's happened. I already put mine in because I did it directly when I got home from church. I put down wise man in our no rehearsal Christmas pageant we did at my church on Sunday. Our director of religious education was pulling people from the congregation to fill in spots in this tableau that kind of showed off the Jesus birth story and such, and I jumped up to be a wise man because I wanted to wear a crown with my son and someone else from the middle school class, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun, so that was the thing. But yeah, I could have also put live plan with me because that was also fun. I'll link that in the cards up above if you want to watch the replay. As for the week of bullet journaling, I did it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, some listing Friday, a little bit of notes for the podcasts, a video that's coming up, but I did not bullet journal for the weekend. I actually did very little on Saturday at all. Like sort of farted around the house. The vlog I have to edit for today, which you will have already seen. I'll link that up in the cards as well. Yeah, Saturday it was like played video games, did some laundry, hung around the house, had lunch. Like that was about it, and I needed it so badly. And then Sunday was actually super busy between church, the live plan with me. So I just didn't touch my fucking plan, my bullet journal, and I'm okay with that. All right. So what do I need to do? I need to set up for the week, and I'm going to continue what I've been doing and just do like a basic list for the week because I'm not time tracking right now. But what I first want to do, now my goal is to try and mind map, and I might do it with my friend Madi Mundo if I can get her to, but she's going to be traveling, so I don't know if she'll be able to or not. But what I know I want to start with is to take one spread and divide it in half, which is easy because it's 2 pages. And I want to put on one side what worked that I can think about and what didn't work. I'm going to make a list right now from what I can think about, and then later this week I am going to film a video, so it'll go up next week, but I'm going to be flipping through my old bullet journals from the last year so that and I'll have this spread as well, so if anything else comes up that worked or didn't work, I can add it to this list, because that way I can take a look at this when I set up for 2019 and decide, okay, if this didn't work, I'm not going to bother with it. If this did work, how can I make it better? And that's kind of going to be the hope. The idea here is to simplify my bullet journal process in 2019, to try something different. I kind of want to burn it all down and start over again, not because it sucks, but because I'm over kind of how I've been doing this lately. All right, so I'm gonna grab my basket of washi that I've been using this month to grab one to use for this. I've got this divided in two, like I said, fairly easy because it's 2 pages, so didn't have to use a ruler or anything. So off the top of my head, what didn't work? Time tracking. I'm gonna put this here. Now, believe me when I say time tracking has worked for me. Last year it worked for me. There were probably points in this year it did work for me. And there were 2 reasons it worked for me. It worked because I saw where my time was going, and that was important. The other reason it worked was because when I have to fill in where my time is going, I hold myself accountable because I don't want to put in that I spent 5 hours farting around on Instagram. I want to have it look like I'm productive. So I'm more productive so that when I fill the time tracker in, I feel more productive. It's a silly motivation, but it works. So I guess maybe it's not silly. But it stopped working after a while. And I think that maybe part of it is that I didn't want to take the time to do it anymore. It just felt like that wasn't a good use of my time. And for 2, because I have so many times, like as an example, I didn't even incorporate the recover part of my time tracking until way after I started doing it. And it bums me out to look back at my week and see the times where I have to lay down. It's not that I regret having to lay down and recover when my kidneys are really hurting. I just don't like looking at it. It doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me feel motivated. So why bother doing it? So time tracking is definitely something that didn't work. Another thing I'm going to put on here is habit tracking. Now, again, this doesn't mean that all habit tracking sucks for me. It means that creating a big habit tracker with a bunch of habits, like when I woke up and how much water did I drink and blah, blah, blah. Like, it just wasn't as helpful for me. Either I didn't do the things and I felt bad because I wasn't able to fill them in, or I did do them, but I just didn't fill them in because I didn't ever get around to it. And either way, it just wasn't very helpful to me, and it was causing me more guilt and more stress for not filling out my tracker than anything having to do with the actual habits in the first place. Something that did work for me, and it wasn't in my bullet journal, it was in my Erin Condren, was blood pressure tracking. So I think what I'm learning from this, and I'm gonna write something down here. I'm gonna write it down so I can journal it, but before I write it, I'll just kind of articulate it, is that general habit tracking, general time tracking was not something like overall that was useful for me in 2018, but specific tracking, like tracking my blood pressure specifically, picking things for a specific reason and tracking them was much more useful for me than doing just a lot of different things to track. So trackers in general, thumbs down for me. Specific trackers, if they're chosen for reasons that have like real purpose in my life, much better. I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget it. Also, what worked? Challenges incorporated into my bullet journal. I might change where I put them or whatever, like I might go back to doing it weekly or whatever the case may be, but doing my lettering and doodling challenges in my bullet journal worked. Something else that didn't work really well for me was future log. Basically, all of my future planning has moved into my Google Calendar. Even my monthly spread in my Erin Condren, which was my favorite spread in the whole planner, dumped it. It wasn't you, it's me, my dude. So the future planning in my bullet journal is not really something that has been helpful. Now I'm gonna make like a little box down here because it was a suggestion some of you guys made on a recent video, and I've been thinking about it. Rather than doing swatches randomly in my bullet journals, just creating a notebook of swatches, which would be a project in and of itself, but maybe that's a project I can do when I'm recovering from surgery in a couple of weeks. So what didn't work, but that I want to work? Memory keeping. Memory keeping worked for a while, and then I fell off the wagon, but I want to keep doing it. So maybe I should create another section down here. We'll call this, what didn't work great, but I want to improve. Not exactly a fancy lettered title, but it explains something, and memory keeping is on here. I do want to keep doing memory keeping. I do want to get better at it, so that needs to just be incorporated, and I'm not sure how yet. So that's something I'm gonna be continuing to contemplate as I get ready to set up my new bullet journal, but I'm gonna write here Amy Tangerine, because I love the way she incorporates memory keeping into her journal. So I'm gonna maybe watch her for some inspiration. And then I guess we'll create another category here. What worked, but I may not do anyway. Cover pages. I know they're fun. I know that most bullet journal people are getting more and more elaborate with the ones they do. I've been elaborate with some. With others, I haven't really cared that much. I'm not sure if they're serving a big purpose for me anymore. And if I redo how I bullet journal in general, cover pages may not have as much of a place, or they may have a place sometimes but not other times. So I'm just kind of keeping that off to the side. Now, what worked? Weekly intentions list. But what didn't work? Monthly numbers tracking was not something I stayed on top of, because I'm going to be trying to incorporate a goal planner, and you'll learn more about that next week when I start talking about the Inkwell Press and the power sheets, because I fucking have FOMO apparently. We'll talk more about that next week. The point being is that in my bullet journal, monthly numbers tracking wasn't really working. So that doesn't mean I'm going to drop the idea of it, because it is something I need to keep on top of, but doing it in my bullet journal may not work. This is a good start. This is basically what's on the top of my head just recently, things that have been occurring to me. But when I flip through my bullet journals for the whole year, and I might even pull out some ones from before that, I will add more to these lists, and that will help me really think about what I want to do in my bullet journal for 2019. Now, this seems like a lot of navel gazing, but honestly, I think that this is something that anybody should do when rethinking how they organize their life, their planner system, their bullet journal, however you do things, however you look at your life. If you're feeling like it's not working for you, then maybe breaking down things like this will be helpful. Now, once I figure out what does work, I may wind up doing another video where I bust out the index cards like I did back in August, because that was really helpful. And I'll link that video up above if you're curious about it. But if you want to see more than just this and then me saying up the new bullet journal, if you'd like to see more of this process that I'm going through, let me know in the comments. I will do my best to film it, but with surgery coming up, I'm trying to pre-film as much as possible. And there's only, I can't do all of this thinking in one day to film 3 videos, so I don't know how it's gonna work exactly. And I'm mostly pre-filming because of my surgery, so we'll see what happens. The point being, though, is that this is a start for me, and I would love if you do something like this where you're trying to reassess your year. Post about it on Instagram or on Facebook and tag me. On Instagram, I'm at Llama Letters, because I would love to see how you're thinking through things. With that, I am going to make my weekly intentions list and then bullet journal for the day. And then that's all I'm gonna do, because that's all I need to do. Now we're bringing back the washi tape that confused the fuck out of me. And I think I'm gonna do it, this is the trees, not the brown trees. I'm thinking now that I've done this page that I should have given myself a little bit more church room, because there's actually a shit ton of church stuff I gotta get done this week. Somehow I let it all get away from me, and now I am just running to catch up. But I'm gonna make my list of the things that have to get done this week. It's a lot, and the big reason it's a lot, with kidney disease and chronic illness, expecting to get a lot done at any given time is probably futile. However, the way my life looks over the next 3 weeks, so there's 3 weeks of Christmas break here in Napa. This first week, my ex-husband has the kids. He has them until Sunday morning before church when we pick them up. Then we have them for the next 2 weeks. In those 2 weeks, there's Christmas, there's my husband's birthday, there's Katie's birthday, and I'm getting surgery on the 2nd, and allegedly I'm supposed to give a sermon on the 6th, but somebody else may likely be reading it, but I'm still gonna write it. And they're gonna be out of school, and there's just a lot going on, and so I really need to get as much done this week when the kids are not here, when my husband is working long hours because it's a busy time of year for his job. But I also have a doctor's appointment this week, 2 doctor's appointments this week. So I have other priorities, so it's just a lot of things to try and get done so that those 2 weeks will be a lot less painful. So even if I don't get it all done, if I can make a list and even get through half of it, my next 2 weeks will not be anywhere near as hectic. So I'm just explaining that because I know it can be really weird for me to put so much stuff down knowing that I've been feeling so crappy lately. But honestly, these weeks, these like week before I know I need time, are when I tend to be my most productive, maybe because of the time crunch. I don't know. I've always worked better under pressure. I'm a fucking procrastinator, and so I get to the last minute and anyway. So I'm gonna make my church list first though, because those are the things that are right at the top of my head. My home list is so small. I'm so swamped with all this stuff that I'm not even thinking about that. I'm going to get today, and what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do a top 3, and then I'll make a list below that, but the top 3 will be the ones to focus on today. And I can already check this one off because I'm doing this right now. But here is my top 3 for today, and then other things that would be nice to get done as well. But if I get all 3 of these done, I will at least be ahead, or at least caught up. The rest of this will keep getting me ahead. Anyway, this is my bullet journal set up for the week. I hope that it was helpful for you. Like I said before, if you are going to start doing this situation, let me know in the comments. Tell me about your process of figuring out what works, what doesn't work, how you decide what you're going to do. This has been sort of a running theme this month, and it's just going to continue as we continue the month. So be prepared. If it's not your jam, at least I've warned you in advance. Actually, this isn't in advance. This is in the middle of it. Anyway, you guys, I think you're awesome. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video.